Hello,
Yeah.
everyone. Hola, comadres.
Hello. Hola, comadres. ¿Cómo están?
We hope you guys are doing well. Today, I'm so excited for this. So, Val and I have been wanting to do this topic for a really long time. And if you're reading the title, we decided to be a little playful with it because we know it's a very common occurrence that our parents might think that our supplements are drogas, and they indeed are
Yeah.
not. So, not only did we want to like bust that myth, but we also want to like talk about fitness and health in general and some of the beliefs that might be holding our community back and ways that we can kind of combat that, like educational topics to kind of bring awareness to certain things, and also figure out ways that can help you to meet your health and fitness goals. Because I think there's a common misconception that if you are trying to get healthy, that you have to break the bank. And like it's really expensive, and it can be, but there are ways around it. And we do want to give you guys some resources, some tools, some really cool life hacks so that you can eat healthy and not have to sacrifice, in terms of money. The economy is crazy right now, so we're all trying to save some money, but also not let go of your roots. Because I think there's also this misconception that if you want to eat healthy, like you have to give up all of your favorite foods. And Mexican food, it can be unhealthy, but it doesn't always have to be. And so we're going to kind of bust that myth. But today we are going to start off a little bit differently. We wanted to add a new segment to our episodes. But before we get into that, I just want to give Val a chance to speak because I just kind of went in there right away. Do you have any thoughts on this topic as we're preparing?
Yeah, I have a lot of thoughts, but I'll save a lot of them for later because the way we were thinking about this when Jenny was like, supplements aren't drugs. I'm sure everybody, well, not everybody, but in the Hispanic community, supplements are so like taboo. Like, what are you drinking? What's that powder? I remember one time my dad was like,
Yeah.
"You and your magic powders." I was like, "Oh my God, Dad, calm down." I was like,
Your brujeria.
"Yeah, I
She's
know."
making potions in the kitchen.
Exactly.
Honestly, it feels like that though. Maybe that's why I'm like so into health and fitness because it like brings out my inner bruja.
That's funny, yeah. And then my dad's like, "You're drinking all these powders and nothing changes." And I was like, "I'm not dialed in, Dad. I'm not dialed in." He's like, "What are you dialing in?" I gotta log in, Dad. He's like, "There's a powder for
That's funny.
everything, for
You're
energy,
like,
for
I need
muscle."
more. That's why.
I need more powders,
Oh
dude.
my gosh.
Ooh, okay, anyway, we're gonna save the
That's funny.
ha-ha-has for later, but ooh, man, that's
Yeah.
funny.
Okay.
Oh, man.
So, we are going to get a little serious, a little sassy,
Yes.
a little bitchy for lack of a better word. So, the new segment, there's two new segments that we're going to add. The first segment, we're going to call Hold My Bun. We were thinking of naming it Hold My Concha, but then I was like, you know what? Let me double check because I know that in Mexico, bizcocho is a cookie, and in Puerto Rico, bizcocho is that. If you're not watching, I pointed down. So I was like, let me just look this up just to see. And sure enough, concha does mean the same thing. So I was like, you know what? Let's just say hold my pan, or we'll say hold my cafe, however it wants to like manifest itself from here on out. But Val and I got our first hate comment the other day.
Yeah.
And it was so funny. Val, so I did already see it, but I don't think Val knew that I saw it. And so she Snapchatted me that day and she was like, all right, girl, sit down. Like, I have some news. You were like
Yeah.
trying to mentally prepare me. Oh my gosh. And so we want to talk about it because we don't want to shy away from the hate comments. I think that could be a really good opportunity to just like take it on head on, own up to whatever our mistakes are if we make mistakes. But also, I want to defend myself because not everything on this is correct, in my personal opinion. And I think that there's a really common thing that's happening. I mean, it's been happening for a while now where like people just throw hate comments just because. I think a lot of people are just miserable. And to be honest, I think a lot of people lack critical thinking and they don't think about, is there more context behind this before they comment? And so, yeah, I just want to address all of that. So we're going to pop up a screenshot on the screen, but I'm going to read it from my phone. So I'll be looking down. So this comment was on one of our reels on Instagram. And in the video, I was talking about how, although my family is Mexican, we are also my family is also considered very country, quote unquote. And I said the words that I use the words Americanized, that my family is, they were onion picking in the fields. They were, working on farms. I didn't say this in the video, but I thought that this would be enough context to say that, like, they grew up around horses. They listen to country music, this and that, da 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 da. And so this comment says, being country is not exclusive to the States. Mexican brought that to the USA. That's what she wrote. So, anyways, America is a continent. Also, colonialism was not by choice, so we are not making fun of ourselves. This statement is so incorrect, very off-putting. You were made fun of because you are not city-wise. Don't know what that means. Prepare better next time so you can articulate your thoughts better. And then I responded, I'm sorry you feel that way. While I'm working on my speaking and practicing to make it better, I also think there's a lot of missing context from this short clip. When I say country, I'm not using the word literally, but more as slang, referring to country music, cowboy culture, etc. I highly encourage you to give the full episode a chance, as it will give you a better idea of the full topic discussion, but I'll take your constructive criticism into account for the future. In regards to the making fun of yourselves comment, and I'll give you guys a little bit more context on that here in a little bit if you haven't seen that video. I think I could have done a better job at conveying the message. I was trying to bring attention to the fact that no one should make fun of anyone for being different, no matter what background. So, to give you guys more context, in that short clip, I was talking about how, from my experience growing up personally, I felt this tension, or not tension, but like I felt like there was this underlying energy that people had of me, that because I wasn't fully Mexican, that I wasn't good enough. And that is a very common thing in Mexican culture, where if you have kids with any other race besides Mexican, it can be considered messing up the bloodline. And I was trying to talk about that topic, but again, it's a very short clip. Yes, Val's raising her hand.
I wanted to add to that because yes, like Mexicans come in all different colors. We got all the crayons.
Mm-hmm.
Just kidding, you guys. I so much love. But like we got gingers, we got darker skinned Mexicans, lighter skinned Mexicans. Miss Universe, she's a very light skinned Mexican woman. She actually reminds me of Jenny. She's got really pretty green eyes and really pretty hair.
That's
But
like the
yes, there
best
is
compliment ever.
really? Girl, yes,
I
girl,
love
you're
you.
but yes, it's like but they're Mexican, like they're raised in Mexico, the parents are Mexican, but there is that like she's half Mexican. Like, oh, she's, or like if you're born across the border to like maybe parents that are Mexican, it's like, well, your parents are Mexican, but you're American. It's like it's kind of
Right.
that's was the episode was not
It
ni de
was
aquí ni de
Nidia.
allá, but making it de aquí y de allá. So that's the whole conversation that we were
Yes.
talking about. And then when Jenny says country, it wasn't like country like the USA. She's like, no, my family's country. Like we put
Yeah.
emphasis on
With
like
an
the
accent.
country. Like
Yeah.
so
From Texas.
from Texas. Yeah. So again,
Yeah.
this is not to make fun like of anyone. We were just saying like
Right.
the culture around. Yeah.
Yeah, well, and then it's funny because at the end of the clip, I say something along the lines of, consider like what you're making fun of, because if you're making fun of somebody who is not quote unquote fully Mexican, essentially what you're kind of making fun of is yourself, because a lot of people who are Mexican usually tend to be half native and half Spaniard, which is white. So that's kind of what I was bringing to that. And then she said something, as you guys saw in that comment, she said something along the lines of like, we're not making fun of ourselves. Like, we didn't choose colonialism. And it's like, I'm sorry. Like, I didn't either. Like, I don't know
Yeah.
how you want me to respond to that. And at the end of the clip, I say something along the lines of, all you're doing by, making ugly comments like that is spreading negativity. And that's exactly what she was doing here. And so, while I am willing to own up to my mistakes, I am not the best speaker. That is something that I am working on. I will probably always work on it for the rest of my life. I'm not going to say everything perfect. I am not somebody who does public speaking. Maybe one day I will. But like for now, I am actively practicing and like give people grace, you know? Like there's people like me and Val who are putting ourselves out here. We're putting our opinions out here in public. A lot of other people in the world aren't doing that. They don't have the guts to do that. So like just be kind, you know? And if you disagree with it, I think there's a way to bring it up without having to like be so negative about it. So I don't know. I just kind of wanted to stand up for myself and give my 2 cents. And actually, one more thing I do want to talk about because I think she was kind of alluding to this was her comment about like being country is not exclusive to the United States. And I think the reason why she said that is because America, or the United States of America, I should say, they call themselves America. And I know that that does irritate a lot of people because they, you know, Mexico is part of North America, Canada is part of North America. There's so many countries that are technically American because they're part of the continent North America. However, when I'm using the word Americanized, that is just a really short and slang term way to say and convey that idea. I don't know how else I would be able to say that word in reference to using the whole word, the United States of America. Like if I'm saying Americanized, like there's no like way to say that other than Americanized. Like it would be too long for me to say. I would have to be like United States of Americanized. Like that doesn't even make sense. So I'm sorry if that, you know, cancels me. I'm sorry if people disagree with that, but I'm going to keep saying that because it's more efficient. And those are my thoughts. However, I do agree, like, it is kind of annoying that America is just like, we're just America. Like, there's way more to North America. So I see both sides, you know?
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. So that's all I have. That's all the sass that I wanted to bring to that topic. I don't know if you want to say anything else in regards to that.
No, I guess it's always easier to take things out of context. Like it's harder to try and understand. It's harder to like go and pull up the whole video, and it's easy to just, put
Yeah.
mean comments down. So, I mean, we're really doing this from a place of love and to try to connect to other people. And though we only got two negative comments because I got my own negative comment too. I was like, okay. It was
Mm-hmm.
funny because somebody commented, it was I was what is it? Making a
Like
comparison
comparing.
to traffic. Yes, it was just about
Yeah.
traffic in Mexico City. And I was like, yeah, if you think of like the way people drive in Mexico City, it's similar to like the way people would drive in like India, like lots of honking, lots of traffic, lots of people in bikes. Like it's a whole thing. And somebody on YouTube from India was like, yeah, sounds like India. And I was like, but see, I'm like, all I was trying to do is make a comparison, and somebody got it, and somebody was like, girl, I see you. And then somebody was like, I bet she's never been to India. And I'm like, I didn't say I'd been. I'm just drawing a comparison. And so I'm like,
Yeah.
if you want to, if there was, I was actually listening to this earlier today. It's like, you could get offended by anything. Someone could be like red, and you'd be like, oh, what? Like blue's not good enough? Like, I guess, so you, anyone could get offended by anything. If you're really trying, like, you could. So
Yeah.
I'm just like, it's okay. It's okay. It's okay.
Yeah, that's, you know, there's only so much that we can do. And kind of going back to what you were saying earlier, like, I think if people were to really look at our content and especially go to the actual episodes and listen to the long form of this podcast, I think they would see that we are trying to make the world a better place and we are trying to spread love. But like, just because there was that one clip that like I didn't say anything perfectly, or like maybe this is the other thing, you guys. The system that we're using, it automatically picks a lot of the clips for us. And unfortunately, sometimes we're not able to like extend the clip that it cuts for us. So, like, sometimes there's like certain words or like little tiny things that at the very beginning of the sentence that could give a little bit more context to what we're saying. But because we're just getting started and we're just trying to go efficiently, Val and I both have jobs. Like, we don't have all this time to like have, you know, an editor that we hire or, you know, things like that. Like, sometimes we just got to put out what gets put out and that's it. And so, yeah, I mean, it's very likely that the people who are commenting things like this will never see this and they'll never see this explanation because they're probably not patient enough to listen to the long form of the content. But, you know, I just wanted to give my 2 cents on that. Yeah, I think that was everything that I wanted to say on the negative part. But any other
Hmm.
thoughts?
No, I think also it's good to address it. I don't know that we'll always have the time to address all of the comments, but
Yeah.
it's also good to know that we're not shying away from it and we're not hiding from it and we're not gonna like take it down or we're not gonna it's like, okay, well, that's how you feel. But also like
Yeah.
why we said it and also in context, like it matters the way in which it was said because context
Mhm.
matters. But we got a lot of
Right.
love too, like for all the bad, we got
Yes.
so much good and like the conversation was amazing and so many people participated and actually I was like, "Whoa." So that's what we wanted and we got a lot of that.
Yeah, actually, that's the perfect segue into the next segment. So, we do want to also highlight the positivity. So, we're going to be talking about comment corner. So, if you have not left your own comment yet on our videos, definitely feel free to. We want to highlight you guys and shout you guys out. One of our videos that was posted on YouTube Shorts, and again, I'm going to post some screenshots here so you guys can pause and read it and see the love. There were a lot of people who were, just commenting about their own experiences growing up and how watching that video felt like something that they could connect to and something that they could relate with. And so I do want to read a few of these things. Let me see if I can find one that I can read the whole thing, but a lot of them have like read more because they're very long, which I love because, we love to hear from you guys. But I'll just kind of give you the synopsis on a few of these. So one of them said, as a child, I was called the N word because of my skin. And as an adult, I've been called indio as a slur in Mexico and at home in Colorado. It's wild because my grandma would get mad if we dot dot dot. And I don't remember exactly what he said word for word, but something along the lines of his grandma would get upset if he called himself Mexican. Like that's literally it, just Mexican. And so he never understood why that was. But I think about it now and I'm just like, she probably had a lot of, negative memories with that. Like if people called her Mexican and like made fun of her for being Mexican. I know there was another one in here that I really, really liked. Let's see. I can't remember exactly which one it was, but it said something along the lines of like we don't know what we don't know. And in the clip, I was talking about how I didn't know that indio could be used as a slur. My own grandfather, who is partly native or was partly native because he's passed away, he classified himself as indio and like he just said it as like a matter of fact. He never said it in like a negative way or derogatory way. And so in that clip, you guys see me actively learning that that is a negative word and that can be derogatory. And, somebody in the comments basically said, like, "That's awesome that, like, you guys are still learning and, like, everybody should always still learn." And I think that is kind of a beautiful way to wrap up both of these segments because we are all just human beings and we are all learning. And so I feel like it is important to say, like, I change my mind when new information is presented and I'm always willing to learn. I'm always willing to be educated. Like, you're never too old to keep learning more. So those are my thoughts on that, but I really, really loved all those, comments, and I felt my heart felt warm from, like, being able to connect with so many people.
Mhm. No, just to kind of close this up, I'm gonna share something real quick, but yeah, I think it's different the way things are seen here in the US because we have so many Native American tribes. And I think it's because I have a lot of like native features. When I travel, people are like, oh, like, what are you? And it's like, what do you mean? And it's like, oh, like, what tribe are you from? If I go to Redoso, New Mexico, I look like a lot of the natives there, and they just assume I'm native. And, like, same thing whenever I'm, like, near the Navajo Nation, when I go up to Albuquerque or Rio Rancho, a lot of people just assume I'm native, and I'm like, "Oh, no, like, I'm Mexican, but yes, I do have native in me, but it's a different type of native."
Right.
But my mom's family, they look a little bit more European, and so when I asked them, I'm like, "Hey, like, what kind of native are we?" They were like and I was like, "What do you mean? Like, we're obviously mixed with
Yeah.
something, like, you're not from Europe, bro, like, you didn't come straight from, like, Spain." So I'm like, "We're obviously mixed with something." And they were like,
Mhm.
"Well," like, when I put it in that context, they're like, "Well, you're right." And so then I had to do a little bit more digging about my own
Mhm.
ancestry. But yeah, it's because that has been here in the US, it's different because people wanna know, like, maybe what Native American nation you're from or what tribe you're from. But in Mexico, it's kinda like you don't wanna talk about it. So when I was just so open about it, they were a little bit, like, dumbfounded, for lack
Yeah.
of better words. But it's just different, like, culture is just different wherever you go. So we're learning, and we're learning learning with you guys, and Jenny's bringing her experiences, being third generation, second generation, third
Second.
generation, and I'm first, second generation. So, I mean, just depends how you look at it. But we're
Yeah.
honestly just talking about culture, and also we're glad that you guys are talking with us and we're learning. So, yeah.
Yeah. So if I'm not mistaken, the generation starts with the first person who was born in the United States. Is that correct?
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. So then I would be considered second because my mom was born in El Paso and then both of my grandparents were born in Mexico. So, yeah. But it is so cool, and this is one of the things that I love about my friendship with Val is I feel like I've mentioned this to her in the past. I feel like her and I being friends is almost as if I was friends with my mom when she was my age, because Val shares so many similar experiences with my mom. And, like, I've even told her, I'm like, whenever she used to live in Las Cruces, I was like, "If you ever need my mom, like, just go to her house and, like, talk to her and vent to her." Because, like, literally all of the things that you're talking about right now, all of the things that you're struggling with, she's told me about struggling with when she was younger, and I think it's just a very unique first generation experience to go through. So, yeah, it is really kinda cool to see, like, how that unfolds, and then I'm sure, for Val in the future, because Val, her husband is white, so whenever she has
Mhm.
kids, they're gonna be half Mexican, and, like, I'll be able
Yeah.
to in turn, like, give those experiences to her
Yeah.
and, like, how she can guide her children, so it's a beautiful thing. I love it.
Yeah. Yeah, me too. Yeah.
All right. Well, let's go ahead and dig into today's episode. A few disclaimers before we get into it. Like we mentioned at the beginning, we are going to be talking about health and fitness. We are going to be talking about maybe weight loss or calories or things like that. So, if you are somebody who has an eating disorder or disordered eating patterns, this might not be the conversation for you. We invite you to click out and go look at any of our other podcasts. And when you're ready, you can always come back to this. We will always be here for you. As always, we are also not doctors, we are not dietitians. Please seek out the right resources for a protocol that is specific and tailored to you. And while we're not doctors or dietitians, we do have a lot of experience, and we got some credentials. So I am a NASM or NASM, however you want to say it, certified personal trainer. I also have a health coach certification through the Institute for Integrative Nutrition. And I am currently getting my nutrition certification through NASM as well. In addition to those credentials, I have been working out consistently for 10 years, which is actually wild to say. Like, I cannot believe how long it has been. And I have worked multiple jobs in the health and fitness field. So I do have that to bring to the table. And then Val, she is a coach at Kids Strong. She has coached martial arts for many years and has been active all her life. And she also has had the opportunity to be mentored by many experienced and credentialed coaches. So I don't know if I left anything out of that, Val, if you want to highlight anything else.
I've worked with
Mm.
nutritionists and I've done an elimination diet. I've been through it, team. I've been through it, okay? So,
Oh,
yeah. That's
oh.
my personal
You're like, at
experience.
this point, I could be like an assistant.
Yeah, I could. I'm like, "Have you tried eliminating this?"
Yeah.
Gosh, that's funny.
Yeah. So it's, we have some stuff under our belts, which I honestly I think is really cool too, because Val and I, we started working out together in 2018 when we were still
Mhm.
living in the same town together. So we have seen each other grow and go through many seasons of life. We have both seen some weight fluctuations. And so I feel like right now, even though we're still figuring out our own body and our own mind and like what works best for us, I think that we have done a really good job of, like, getting to the point that we are at right now. Like, personally, I feel like even though I'm not at my goal yet of where I wanna be, I would say I'm in the healthiest body that I have ever been in, while also being in the healthiest mindset. At least that's what I could say for myself. But I don't know about you, Val, or, like, how you feel where you're currently at with your health and fitness.
I feel like I've learned a lot about what my body craves and what's good for it and what's not good for it. I've seen it change. I've seen it become lactose intolerant. I'm like, what? So I've gone through changes. I was an athlete. I'm no longer an athlete. So I feel pretty happy with like where I'm at and where I'm going, and also learning how to fuel my body. So I'm actually really excited. It's been a journey from like 18, 19, 20 all the way to like 30. I've learned so much. So yes, I'm really excited.
Yeah. So before we get into the different topics, I do want to kind of briefly talk about where we came from and what has led us up until this point. So, Val, I would love to ask you, what mindset did you have with health and fitness when you were growing up? Like, is this something that your family was very into? Is it something that they, always had a really good like relationship with, or like how did they kind of bring you into that mindset?
Hmm. So both my parents are both very athletic, but they always liked like having like a very lean body type, not very like muscular. Also, my sport, taekwondo, is very lean driven. Like you don't want a lot of weight on you because you're doing a lot of kicks. You want to be as light as you can be. And so, yeah, it was very interesting. I'm trying to think also just like our food, like our diet. We didn't eat like a lot of carbs growing up. Like there wasn't like a lot of bread or pasta.
Yeah.
It was mostly like corn tortillas, maize, hominy, like corn based, maybe beans, but not a lot of bread, not a lot of chips, not like at least my family. But growing up in athletics, one thing that was like new was like protein. Like you got to get your protein in, you got to eat a lot of fish, a lot of lean meat. So I grew up around like that terminology, and also it was during a time where like I was really seeing like women be like the front and center of sports. So actually seeing muscle, actually seeing like what athletic women look like, not being scared of muscle. So yeah, I just grew up in like a really good era, but I was still learning a lot, like learning and unlearning a lot of stuff.
Yeah.
So yeah, I guess that's kind of like where I was during like that time.
Yeah. That's
Yeah.
really good, honestly. And I feel like even though I haven't known Val for all of her life, I have known her since we were both 15. So like I could be a testament to like saying that that is 100% true. Like every time I went to Val's house, her mom would make such good food, but it was always really healthy. And like I feel like Val carried that too. Like I remember I would go over to her house and like sometimes we would have breakfast and Val would make these like most beautiful yogurt bowls with like berries and nuts and granola, and it would be like so colorful, and like chia seeds. It would just be so pretty, and I would be like, dang girl, like we're getting all, we put like coconut flakes in there. It was like a little bar, if
Yeah.
you will.
Yeah.
I was just like,
Yeah.
wow, like I didn't even know all of these were options. And so I feel like it kind of opened up my mind a little bit into some of the ways that I could be creative with some of my own food choices. I would like to say that I had a very similar experience, but I did not, unfortunately. So that being said, it could have probably been worse, but my family, they didn't really put too much of an emphasis on fitness or healthy foods or anything like that when I was growing up. Again, I think it could have been worse. I think that they could have like glorified a lot of unhealthy foods. But it was kind of in the middle there. And definitely had the tortillas, definitely had the chips. We did have the healthier things like beans, a little bit of rice. A lot of times we would do like beans with like Munster cheese on it, or like sometimes we would just eat like avocado by itself and like put salt on the avocado, stuff like that. But then we would also have gorditas, or like we would have like taquitos, or I'm trying to think, like tamales. That's a whole other episode. We have a whole episode about like tamales if you guys want to go watch that. So yeah, just a lot of guilty pleasures, a lot of like seasonal things, like things that you would see during the holidays and stuff like that that might not be the best for you. When it comes to fitness, I, always did like PE and stuff like that growing up, but I don't think it was really encouraged for me. I know they tried to put me in sports, but I just did not want to do it. And so they just like let me do whatever I want. And unfortunately, that involved not too much activity. I also remember, like, as I started getting into my teenage years, if I would ever go to like my tia's house, every now and then they would take us to Zumba, which that was really fun. But then I remember there being this one conversation because we had never worked out before. And I was asking my cousin's like second cousin on her mom's side of the family, I was like, is it okay if you take like a hot shower after you work out? Like, I heard that you can pass out from that. And they were like, yeah, don't make it really hot because it's going to be like bad for you, like, you could faint in the shower, and then I think back on that now, and I'm like, "That who was telling us that?" Or, like, I remember one time my aunt telling me that if I ate too much protein, that I would gain weight, and now that I'm looking back, I'm like, "Well, possibly, but that could also be muscle." So there's just a lot of, like, little educational pieces of, like, things that we were told growing up about health and fitness that, like, maybe could be true, but there's a lot more context to it, and there's a lot of background information that should be given on that. So, that's where I, came from with that particular topic. So, the Mexican household experience around health and body image. So, some common experiences are comments on your body.
Yeah.
Comments like, estás muy flaca, ya engordaste, ¿por qué no comes? Or te ves mejor con carne. What's interesting is depending on the side of my family that I was spending time with, I've been told both things. So on my mom's side of the family, I remember when I was going through puberty, I had my growth spurt quicker than all my other cousins, probably because my dad's white. So like my dad is 6'2", and I think I was meant to be tall, but like I just my height got stunted at a certain point, and so I got really, really tall in comparison to my cousins, and I remember, like, my aunt making a comment, like, not necessarily in a bad way, but just, like, saying how crazy it was that, like, I was already fitting into adult clothes. Because I remember, like, I was at my grandma's house, and she was giving clothes away, and I was trying on some of her clothes, and some of them fit me. And that kinda stuck with me, and, like, it kinda made me sad because I was just like, "Oh, like, does is that bad? Like, does that mean I'm fat? Like, what does that mean?" And then if I would go to my step family and, like, some gatherings there, I remember there was this one time that me and one of my step tias, we were all at McDonald's together, and she said something along the lines of, "Girl, like, get a burger or something, like, we need to put some meat on them bones." And I'm just
Mm.
like, that's so crazy. Like, I was 15 whenever she said that to me, and I think that's, like, really crazy that you would say that to your niece who, like, still is growing up and, like, "You don't need to be commenting on my body," kind of a thing. So, I don't know if you have any experiences like that.
Oh my gosh, I do. I think also, like, I'm relating back to your experience because you've met my dad, and my dad's really tall. And so I was also very tall, but I got a lot of hand-me-downs from my cousins, my female cousins. I only have two female cousins in the US, and they're shorter than I am. So you've talked about this experience, or I think you talked about it right now, where like we're trying to get close from your cousins, but you outgrown them. So it was the same way with me,
Yeah.
where like, well, your cousin's clothes don't fit anymore, but it wasn't like a issue of like size. It was just like an issue of like height. Like I was just too tall
Yeah.
for the clothes. But I think sometimes, and again, that goes back to like just differences. Like typically, like Mexican population tends to be shorter. And so whenever, genetics, like sometimes you're just born taller and like, Jenny is half white. So it's just like maybe you just inherited your dad's height, Jenny. Just like which
Yeah.
is great, which is, like, really, really good, but I remember struggling with that too, where I was taller for, like, my height, so there was some of that where, like, I just didn't fit into, like, my cousin's clothes, and so I did have to, like, get bigger sizes or, like, I wasn't in, like, the girls section or, like I do remember some of that. In terms of, like, fitness, I think, what's it called? Oh my gosh, Modern Family, like, I'm blanking
Sofia
right now.
Vergara?
Sofia Vergara, she said it too, like where there are beauty standards, and then like in Colombian beauty standards, like you want like a voluptuous, like you want the curves. Like I feel like Latin America is really known for that, like the curves and like the chest, like like the boobs and like the bigger butt, like just like a fuller, plumper size woman. But it was interesting because I had like, oh my gosh, we've got to talk about trauma. In like sports, especially in like martial arts, you want to be very lean. Like I almost feel like I didn't even want like boobs or a butt or anything because I was like, no, I
Yeah.
want to be lean. Like I almost like didn't want to have that extra thing that makes you like beautiful. It's like you're coming into yourself. You're such a twin. It's like I
Yeah.
wanna like, but this is also like sports mentality because it's not just like like Latin beauty standards, but this reference has been made of like women athletes being treated as like little boys or like little men. It's like You want, like, the
Mhm.
least excess fat, like and it was almost kinda like I didn't even want puberty, if that makes sense, like, I just didn't
Yeah,
want to have, like, the female features. I was like, "No, I just wanna be in this, like, lean
the
body."
same.
Yeah,
Yeah,
and I was just like yeah, so I feel like I had 2 puberties. I had, like, puberty when it happened, and then, like, I had to, like, adjust for, like, I'm a female, and, like, this
yeah,
is a bra, and I have boobs, and, like, that was a whole
yeah.
thing. I was like, "Oh my god."
That's so funny. No, it's funny because like, you kinda made a little comment and it, like, gave me a flashback. I remember when I got my first period. So, fun fact about me, I'm just, like, telling the whole internet about my first period and when I got it. I actually got it on Halloween when I
Wow.
was 12 years
Wow.
old. Luckily, like, it wasn't anything crazy, like, it was very mild, so I didn't find out until the end of trick or treating. But
Mhm.
I was at my aunt's house, and so after that weekend, I came home, and I remember as soon as I got in the door, my mom was like, "She's a little señorita," and I was like, "Mom, stop, like, you're embarrassing." I mean, like, I'm just at home, but, like, don't say it like that. It's just, like, when you're young,
Mhm.
it feels so awkward. It's, like, unknown, you don't, like, know how to talk about it, and you're just like, "I just wanna stay like, what I know," like, I don't
Yeah.
wanna change in any way. So, yeah, that's just funny. But, okay, so kinda continuing on this same topic, but just, like, slightly different aspects. So, obviously, one of the common things that we deal with is, love being shown through food. Is
Mhm.
it, like, raining harder over there?
Like, you hear it? No, it's not, but it
Okay.
was. It was
It was just
raining.
getting louder, and I was like, "Oh my god, like, is there a hurricane happening?"
So,
No, Val just lives in Washington.
or it's June and it's May and it's raining, you guys. So I don't know what's gonna be
Yeah.
something like, but that's okay.
Yeah. So yeah, love being shown through food. Like if you deny your grandma a plate that she offers you as soon as you walk through the door, she will take offense.
Yeah.
There was always pressure to finish your plate too. Like I remember like I would get in trouble if I wouldn't eat all of my food. Or I would be told like, "Oh, there's starving children in Africa." But
Yeah.
then it would suck because whenever I got to a certain age, like, around 12 to 14 years old, I would not be able to order off the kids menu anymore, but then all of a sudden like the portion sizes were like doubled. And so I would be at a restaurant and like these huge portion sizes, and I would be like told that I have to finish my plate. Otherwise, it's like, seen as disrespectful. But then
Mhm.
that kind of messed with me in my adult years because now sometimes I still feel the pressure to like finish my plate. And I have to remind myself, like, no, you can take a to go box. Like, it's not the end of the world. Like, or like, even if you don't end up eating all your food and like you have to throw some away, like, it's okay. Like, yes, there are people who could do with food, but like, you can always give back in other ways if it comes down to that? So I don't know if you have any thoughts on that before we move on a little bit.
Yeah, I do. I think one thing to consider, and this is just like across the board from like Europe and even like living in Mexico, is that portions are bigger in the US. Like when you go out to eat, and I don't know why. I don't know why, but portions are bigger in the US. Maybe it's like so the customer feels like I got more bang for my buck, or maybe it's just like an American thing, or like I actually don't know where this comes from. But yes, portions are bigger in the US, so that's one. The other one is like that guilt around food where like you know you have to eat, but also in the Hispanic culture. And so this is why like Jenny and I have these conversations because in the Hispanic culture, like the grandma, whoever is hosting, whether it's grandma or aunt or mom, whoever is hosting, like they usually serve you food. And so imagine somebody brings you food and you like don't eat it or don't want it or throw it away. It's like, it's kind of rude. So there is like that pressure to like eat all of your food. And also that's a thing in like Hispanic culture. It's like the woman serving the man. And it's not really like
Yeah.
that you're serving them. It's kind of like I'm the one that's hosting or I'm the one that's making the food, so I want you to eat it, so I'm gonna bring it to you. So like there is that aspect. And then culturally, I've seen this too with like some of my friends who were white. Like they get a plate and you serve yourself your own food, but you're also choosing how much you. And I remember like one time we went to a
Mm.
potluck and it's like it was like culture difference of like, wait, I have to serve myself, but in like traditional Hispanic parties, it's like, "Oh, what can I bring you? What did you already eat? Let me get you some food." It's
Mhm.
culture. It's just different. So, like, I know what you're talking about, but there is that, like, pressure, and then, like, yes, things are bigger in America. I don't know. I don't know, Jen. I don't know
Yeah.
why. So, yeah.
Yeah. Well, and
Yeah.
then it just sucks because it's like, like, they would get mad at me for not finishing my plate, but I'm like, "Isn't the bigger problem the restaurant giving these giant portions? Because like, they could save money by giving less, portions, but then I
Mhm,
don't know. I don't know, it's, like, hard. I feel
mhm.
like at the same time, you never wanna leave a restaurant hungry, so it's kind of an interesting topic to think about. Lastly, to finish off this little topic that we started off with, exercise within the Hispanic community can sometimes be viewed as vanity, like, what's the word I'm looking for? Just, like, being, like, overly obsessed with, like, your looks, and that could be seen as, like, conceited maybe.
Yeah.
Exercise could be viewed as punishment. I definitely grew up with that mindset, and we'll get into that here in a little bit. Or exercise can be viewed as white people behavior, quote unquote. So, being seen as like a luxury or like, oh, well, that's just not something that like we can, do because we have other things that we have to focus on or whatever the case may be.
Yeah.
And so or some other things that can kind of ring similarly is, the mentality of, like, work being exercise. So, if you do have an active job, you might hear a parent being like, "Oh, well, I exercise at work," which, that could be the case, but at the same time, it is also important to try and cut it out
Mhm,
in your lifestyle and, make sure that you are implementing it in other ways on your days off, even if it is an active recovery day or just like going for a walk or something like that. There can be a mentality of rest being laziness. So if you're not like getting up and cleaning around the house and stuff like that, it could be seen as like really bad, or you might have even been punished for not, getting up and doing your part with the chores. And that's a whole other can of worms. And then lastly, gym memberships being unnecessary luxuries. So,
yeah,
I will
yeah.
say this because I do think, again, we have to consider all the populations of people who might be listening to this. If a gym membership is not something that you can afford, there's two options. The first option is there are plenty of gyms out there that have very affordable memberships. And for me personally, the way that I view it is you can invest in your health now, or you will
Mhm,
have to invest in your health later on by taking care of the hospital bills because you have put it off for so long.
mhm.
However, there is a second option here, and that is the fact that there are a lot of free ways that you can move your body. You do not need a gym if you don't want it. And so we'll get into some of those examples towards the end, but to wrap this topic up, how do you feel, Val? Like, how do you think that comments about our bodies have stayed with us longer than people realized? Or in general, do you have any thoughts on anything that I talked about just now?
Yeah, I do. I feel like every body is built differently. Obviously, there are taller bodies, shorter bodies. So it is hard feedback to take, especially when you're just developing. Also, when you're learning a lot about like your style, like proportions. Like some people have longer legs, some people have shorter legs, longer torsos, smaller torsos. Like you're learning how to dress yourself. Like for example, Jenny has extremely long legs. I love her legs. I think I have really long legs too. And so just like the proportions and things that her and I maybe would wear comparison to like maybe like my cousins that are shorter, like it's just different, like playing with fashion proportions. And so being I guess like compared to like the norm, but the norm in your culture, is different from like maybe the norm to like maybe I want to wear what taller girls were wearing and it's like, "Oh my gosh, Val is a size fill in the blank, and her cousin is this," it's like, "Well, yeah, but we're different bodies, we're different people." So, also, like,
Mhm.
I would eat a lot, but I was an athlete, and so I was very hungry, and, like, I needed to nourish my
Yeah.
body, and I think this was something that, my mom kinda got wrong, and she had to learn to understand. But, like, eating for an athlete, you're eating a lot more calories, so she would get scared. She's like, "Oh my gosh, like, why are you so hungry? You're eating so much." And I was like, "'Cause I just, like, ran a bunch and burned off a bunch of calories." And, like, I was training and sparring and, like, the nutrition, the focus on nutrition, that was something that, like, my parents struggled with because
Yeah.
they love to move their bodies, and they did, but not in, like, a way that where they, like, grew up athletic, and
Like
so
intentional. Yeah.
yes, and, like, intentional eating and fueling your body, and so they were just like, "I don't know what to feed this child." but I can't eat her like just cereal and Cheerios and chips, but also like you've been eating a bunch. So yeah, there was like just like learning nutrition. I feel like that was something where they were like, they just didn't have a clue. And I don't mean it in like a mean
Yeah.
way, but they just didn't have the
Yeah.
information, the tools, and knowledge. And I didn't either.
Right.
So yeah.
Yeah, well, I think that what that kind of reminded me of is, and this isn't just a Hispanic thing, this is a women who were raised in like the 70s all the way through like the 90s kind of
Yeah.
thing, where like women were told that you need to eat as little as possible. I'm sure you guys have seen that random meme that's gone around where it's like an old diet from like this book from the 70s or something like that, and it's like this crazy crash diet of like somebody eating or drinking like a glass of wine and then having like almonds and then having like I don't know, like tuna and then like having another glass of wine at the end of the night. And like that was the diet. I'm like, what the hell is this? Like yeah, there's a little bit of tuna, but, like, where the hell is all the protein?
Yeah.
And then it sucks too because, like, I am seeing so many women that are in my mom's age group, that are in my aunt's age groups, that are starting to see osteoporosis, and it's
Yeah.
freaking me out. And the reason why is because they were not taught about how important protein was. They were not taught about how important strength training was. They were just taught that, cardio and eating as little as possible was going to be the thing that got you to your dream body. And it's just so sad to think about. So, that's also a big reason why I wanted to bring up this topic is to kind of encourage you guys to learn about that. Don't be afraid of eating more. Figure out what you need for your personal body. But
Mhm.
also, girls, eat your protein and lift your weights. Like, not only is it gonna look good and make you feel lean and make you feel sexy and make you feel confident, but it's gonna make you feel strong. It's gonna make you feel powerful. And it's an investment in who you are in the future. We wanna be
Mhm.
the old ladies. We wanna be the viejitas that are freaking doing pull ups and
Yeah.
like competing and still going to the gym and doing all these cool things. Like, that is what I aim for. So, yeah. Okay, let's move on to the next topic. I feel like we kind of talked about that mindset one quite a bit. So let's talk about how Mexican food is not the enemy. So,
Mhm.
again, we kind of briefly mentioned at the beginning of the episode that a lot of people think that Mexican food is unhealthy. And while it can be, just like
Mhm.
there can be unhealthy American food, just like there can be unhealthy fill in the blank, whatever culture you want to add in there, there's also a lot of really healthy options. So, traditional Mexican food can be high in protein, fiber rich,
Mhm.
balanced, nutrient dense, and some foods to highlight. We already mentioned a few, but I'll bring them up again. Beans, corn tortillas, salsa, avocado, grilled chicken, rice, mariscos. And
Mhm.
so not only do I want to bring up, some of those food items that I just mentioned, but I want to talk about some influencers who have been, I guess, creating a new perspective on this topic. So, some of my favorite ones that have been making new spins on healthier options for the foods that they love and enjoy. I'm so sorry, girl, if I'm not pronouncing your name right. I think it's Hi Raquel Partida. So on Instagram and on TikTok, her handle is JAI Fit 8, and she provides modern healthy twists to our abuela's recipes. So I love her channel so much. Every now and then I will go to her page and I will save a TikTok or like I'll send it to myself and then I'll go to the grocery store and I'll get some of the ingredients and I will recreate it. And so it's a lot of foods that I already grew up with, but it has a healthier twist. So she might be putting something in the air fryer. She might be adding some more veggies. She might be taking out some of the oils that are unhealthy. Or she might be substituting a corn tortilla for a flour tortilla or that kind of a thing.
Mhm.
Another one that I recently discovered is actually, I think Val might have sent this one to me. Her handle is at Healthy Simple Yum on Instagram and TikTok. She is a Mexican registered dietitian helping to debunk the Mexican food is unhealthy myth through recipes and educational videos. And then the last one that I have on here, and Val has a few that she wants to mention, but the last one I have on here is Liv Carbonero. Her handle is at Fit Foodie Living on Instagram. And then on TikTok, it is Liv, Liv Carbonero. And so she is a Cuban American influencer who finds healthy swaps for your favorite treats and encourages you to stop under eating. Some of the things that I love that I have been wanting to try is she does a lot of like crumble recipes. So, like the cookies that you find from Crumble, she will recreate them. The calories will be like half or less, and it'll be like it'll taste just as good. But all she does is swap different ingredients. Like she'll use a lot of pumpkin in there, or she'll use monk fruit to kind of keep the sweetness and stuff like that. So I really, really love that because it gives me ideas on how I can make some of these food items at home without like going over on my calories personally.
I've only provided one, but I got Chewy macros, and his name is Jesus Duran. But what he just has really good recipes, and he really breaks things down into like macros. So that's something that you do is you track like how much of this or how much of that, and like really deep ones, especially if you are somebody that does use carbs as fuel, maybe you're a runner or a power lifter or fill in the blank. Corn tortilla is not like it has more fiber than flour. Also, like the portions are smaller, so it's less actually calories than like a flour tortilla. So he like breaks things down. Also, like I think true Mexican cuisine is really rich in protein. Like there's protein in every meal, whether it's seafood or not. So I think he's got some really delicious recipes, and you can count your macros. So he breaks it down and makes it easy for you guys, and it's tasty. So I really, really do like that. Yeah.
Yes, yeah. And I think the thing to highlight here is like you don't have to give up the things that you love. You can find healthier alternatives. And honestly, I feel like sometimes when you start eating healthier, you find that you crave more of that healthy version than the unhealthy version. Cause like this will happen to me and Val all the time where like we went a little crazy on like a treat day and we'll snap each other and we'll be like, dude, like, yeah, it was great. Like the taste buds were having fun, but like I feel so sluggish. I feel heavy. I do not feel my best. And it's like at that point, I might as well have like the healthier version. It tastes just as good in my opinion, and I feel like I fueled my body in a better way. So,
Mhm.
I don't know. In my notes I put here like maybe our parents were onto something when they were saying hay comida en la casa and just, reminding us that there is a difference between homemade meals and ultra processed fast food. Like you don't know what oils they're putting in at the restaurant.
Mhm.
You don't know what those extra ingredients they're adding in. Also, I'm a firm believer in like the people who make your food, if they're not in a good mood, it's probably gonna like come out somehow. I don't know. I know that's kind of woo woo of me to think, but like I feel like you can feel energy, And so you don't know what mood the person at the restaurant was in when they were making your food. And so all of that to say, like making cooking fun with those healthy swaps is important, but at the same time, don't overly restrict yourself. Definitely still have that treat every now and then. And yeah, I mean, anything else to add before we move on, Val?
No, but I wanted to, well, yes, I was going to touch on the woo-woo, but my mom grew up on a farm, and I don't know if you guys have heard this, but sometimes when your chicken is chewy or tense, my mom will say like, oh, it's because like this chicken was stressed out when it died. And then I looked it up, and like when you are stressed out, you can send like chemicals, like the muscles will tighten,
Yes.
and so the meat will be like chewy. Yeah, and so I was like, that's interesting. But this is also interesting. There's Temple Grandin. She's this female scientist with autism, and she's all about like humane slaughter for cows, because it's like, well, like one, I'm a carnivore, I like to eat meat, but also like humane practices. So it's like, how do we make it so like that animal has like ethical death, for like a better words. But yeah, sometimes like one's like, oh no, this animal was like tense when it died, and I'm like, you can taste the
Yeah.
tenseness. I'm like, what?
Yeah.
What?
She's
Yeah,
like,
it's
I
factory.
can see the memories.
I can see. I can.
She flashes back.
Yeah, but also just things were different 20, 30 years ago. Like even like French fries from like McDonald's were made with tallow versus now they got like all these ingredients, and the food here is different than the food in Europe, and like things aren't the way they used to be. And I think I don't think it's like personal, like, let's just make Jenny and Val suffer. I think it's just like, how can we keep food costs down? What's cheaper? How can we make more? How can,
How do
and
we
it,
preserve it?
yes, it's not about quality, it's about quantity and cost reduction. So all of that comes with the price of your health. Like you paid for it. Yeah, it's cheaper, but
Yeah.
as Americans, like our trends statistically, like we are among like the highest like obese countries. So yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I would agree with that. And that's a whole other can of worms. Maybe we can do like a whole maybe we could do like a whole episode on, food throughout history and stuff like that because I definitely want to continue delving into this topic in the future and hopefully
Hmm.
Val and I can bring on some special guests too cuz we do have a few in mind that would be great to talk about these
Hmm.
topics with. So, let's move
Yeah.
on to our next topic. So we're going to dive into the name of this episode and some of the common things that are kind of funny, but also we want to give some explanations. So, to our comadres, our tias who are listening, our I don't know, our ninas, or if you're a little bit above the target audience age group, we also want to like help to educate you guys as well because unfortunately, you guys might not have had that education in your upbringing. So, we want to demystify some of the supplements and what they are, what they do, that they're not drogas. Maybe you can play this episode for your mom and help to calm her down a little bit. But we love them. They care about us. That's why they worry about us. But okay, so some of the funny slash common experiences that we have when it comes to supplements is that protein powder can be treated like steroids. I think there are a lot of moms out there who maybe think that like protein powder is a steroid, but it's not. Protein is found in our everyday food. It's our chicken, it's our beef, it's our fish. It's in Greek yogurt, it's in milk, it's in cheese, it's in all of these wonderful natural food items. And so basically it's just taken down simply and put into a powder form so that people can be able to drink that powder in a milkshake or a smoothie, or maybe it's just like the shake with the water or the milk by itself. And then that
Hmm.
helps you to just get more protein for the day without having to add on any carbs or fats. So if you are somebody who is trying to build muscle, or maybe you are trying to lose weight and you're trying to cut down on some carbs, it kind of helps you to meet that goal a little bit more efficiently. Have you had anything like that happen, like your parents or grandparents, anything where they said anything like that?
Yeah, with my brother, like my mom, she's just like, esos polvos, like those powders. I'm just like, she's like, there you go again, drink those powders. Or, But yeah, my dad, he's just like those magic powders because he's like, they make
Yeah.
you stronger and they make you lose weight and they have all these claims that give you more energy. Because like pre-workouts,
Yeah.
give you more energy. And then
Right.
like protein is supposed to like make you get more muscle, but also like help you lose weight because it's not losing weight, but because you're tighter. So it's like all these
Yeah.
claim, so it's like all these magical powders. I'm just like, oh, God.
Honestly, that is a good point though, because I feel like a lot of these supplements are just good marketing. And once you've like become experienced enough to like purchase certain supplements, you have to like read the label more closely because a lot of them, like I remember this one time I went to Whole Foods. I was just kind of like in a pinch, in a rush on my way to work. And I was like, oh, I'm just going to stop by Whole Foods and see what they have. And there was this protein drink that they had there, and it said like, I want to say like 22 grams of protein or something like that. So I was like, ooh, okay, like let's do it.
Yeah.
But I didn't have that many calories left in my day because I personally like to adhere to a macro style of, I don't like the word diet, but like that's basically what it is. So, anyways, I didn't have enough calories left in my day. And whenever I like turned the back of the bottle around and I had already purchased it, it said something like 200 plus calories. And I was like, that's not much bang for my buck. Like I could have gotten something better.
Mhm.
Like I personally like the core protein drinks cuz it's like 20 to 30 grams of protein, but it's only like 160 to like maybe like 200 calories
Yeah.
the 200 calories being that 30-gram option. So I like that because it's gonna be more bang for my buck and, like, not have me go over on my calories, but still help me meet my protein goals. So, that's
Mhm,
definitely something to be aware of, but that takes a lot of practice and, just, keep learning more about that if that is something that you're interested in.
mhm.
Okay, creatine sounding suspicious to parents. So I do know this one. My mom was like confused about what creatine was, and I was
Okay.
having a hard time explaining it to her. So, real quick, I'm just going to bring up this article to kind of explain it to you guys if you're not aware what creatine is or what it does. And I'm also going to leave this link down below because we want to cite our sources. So, this is from the Mayo Clinic. It says creatine is a compound that comes from three amino acids, which are the building blocks of protein. Most of the creatine in your body is stored in your muscles. So you already have this inside your body right now, even if you've never taken creatine in your life. And smaller amounts are stored in your brain. Most creatine supplements use a form called creatine monohydrate. The liver, kidneys, and pancreas also naturally make creatine. Usually, people will get creatine through seafood and red meat. The typical diet gives about 1 to 2 grams of creatine per day, and then the body replaces about 1 to 3 grams a day to keep usual creatine stores. So, what does it do? I'm trying to see if there's any explanation on this article before I do my own attempt at the explanation. Okay, yeah, that's like a little further down. So I'm going to do my best to give my little Jennyism explanation, but from my understanding if I'm not mistaken, what happens when you take creatine the supplement is your body will pull in water from the water that you're drinking, from the food that you're consuming, and so on and so forth, and it will pull it into your muscle and it makes it easier for you to lift heavier weights while you're at the gym. And so, the heavier weights you lift, especially if you're on a program that implements progressive overload, which is weights getting heavier throughout your program, that is going to allow you to build muscle. So it's not like protein where it is the building blocks that is helping to fuel that muscle. It is, let's call it like the actual, like the car that's driving the fuel. That's kind of like a good way to describe it is like it's
Mhm,
giving your body what it needs to lift those heavy weights so that that muscle can be built. And then when you drink the protein or you have your protein, that is going to allow you to build that muscle that you tore up in the gym because that's essentially what working out is. You're tearing your muscles, you're making these little micro tears, and then whenever you go to sleep, your body will replenish it and it will start to build that muscle back up.
mhm.
And over time, you'll get more and more muscle as continue on that program. So I see Val doing some Googling there. Lay it on me, girl. Tell me.
Oh, well, no, because I was like, okay, how do I like not mess this up? But no, I think that was a beautiful explanation the way you did it. But yeah, I mean, if you were into biohacking at all, which is just like my body but better, it's like makeup for the body. It's like my skin but better. But yeah, like creatine is amazing because it also helps with like brain and memory. So it is just like a really great supplement, and I really do think everybody should take it. I'm gonna try to give it to my mom next time I see her. I'm like, Mom, this is great. But yeah, you have to drink a
Yeah.
lot of water with it because it can eat hard on your kidneys if you have like a pre-existing condition. But yeah, it does boost athletic performance because it's helping you with recovery. So if you recover faster, you can go back to the gym tomorrow and pump out reps. Promotes muscle growth. So again, it helps with that muscle synthesis, aids in brain function. So this is the reason why I'm
Yes.
just like, besides all of the things that it does, because the brain has high energy demands, creatine can support mental performance during stress, aging, and sleep deprivation. Supports aging adults. So again, like as we grow, we tend to lose muscle. So if you're taking creatine, you get less muscle loss. Fills dietary gaps. So if you maybe don't eat a lot of meat, or maybe don't have that much access to it, like creatine could be like a great supplement. So yeah, I love creatine, but it's hard to explain this when you're like 18, 19. You're just like,
Yeah.
it's good for you. And they're like the white powder is good for you. It's also like a white substance.
Yeah.
It's a white powder,
I
so
know.
it's just like
Oh my
not
gosh,
sus at
dude.
all, you know?
I was just gonna say, like, another thing to reassure you, if you've never heard of creatine, if this is all brand new to you, if it sounds suspicious, creatine is one of the most widely studied supplements, if not the most widely studied supplement.
Okay.
So there's a lot of information to back it up. If you yourself are like skeptical of it, I would highly encourage you to do your own research and like help to kind of, destigmatize that supplement because yeah, it can sound scary, but you were talking about like how it's like a white powder, so it can it can look suspicious, and, that reminded me of this one time, so I don't wanna mention the company that I worked for, but all the staff members, we went to this, like what would you call it? I guess it was like a weekend training thing in Albuquerque. So this company had us go to this training, like, once a year, and it gave us, like, a lot of different tips and tricks on, like, behavioral management and, like, how to help with kids who maybe have educational gaps or this and that and da 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 da. And so, like, all of us are on the way to Albuquerque. And we got all the staff members loaded up in a van, and one of the workers who was like the manager of the staff members, he was really into working out. And so he had his backpack with him with a bunch of supplements in it. He had like protein powders and stuff, pre-workout. And I think this was before like creatine started getting big. This was like back in 2014, I would say, or 2015. So creatine was probably a thing, but it was more so known by like bodybuilders. So
Yes.
anyways, my friend, she was in the passenger seat and he was like, "Hey, can you look in my backpack and get this pre-workout out for me? I'm gonna like drink it on the way to Albuquerque." She's like, "Yeah." So she's like digging through his bag. And of course, he didn't wanna, like, bring the whole tub with him, so he just put it, like, in a bag. It was just, like, in this giant Ziploc bag. So it was just, like,
Mhm.
this huge bag of white powder. And so she was joking around, and she was like, "Guys, cocaine!" And we were like, "What?" But, like, we were just joking around, obviously. So, yeah, it was just funny because 'cause I'm like, it really looked like that. Like, it was just this giant unlabeled Ziploc bag. I wouldn't blame anybody for thinking that. So yeah, it's so funny.
That's fun. Imagine you get people over, you're like, I promised creatine, take here. So like that. You're
Take
like,
it, try
take
it.
it.
You'll
It's good for you.
like, "I don't know if I wanna try it."
Oh
Oh
my
my
gosh, that's
gosh.
funny.
So, yeah. So, yeah, some other funny/common experiences that are kinda similar to this, or misconceptions, I should say. The family thinking that if you're going to the gym and you're a girl, that you must be starving yourself. Ooh, this is a good one, that lifting weights makes women look masculine. Let me tell you, okay, if you are wanting to look masculine, that would take years of intentional lifting, a lot of protein, like, so much protein that you could just never think,
Steroids.
like yes, like, you would have to really, really, really try hard to look masculine. So, if you are a girl who is scared of lifting weights, like, don't let that deter you because that would take so much effort and so much time to get to that point. Another one is that supplements can ruin your organs. Now, this one, I will say it is important to look at what supplements you are taking, especially protein. I know Val has learned quite a bit about like what protein brands are best because a lot of them do contain heavy metals, unfortunately, and many supplements are not regulated by the FDA. So, unfortunately, these companies can put fillers in their products. They can put things that aren't actually helping you to meet your goal. They're making money off of you because they were really good at marketing. So I don't know if you have any thoughts
Mhm.
on that, Val, because I know you can bring a lot of education on that topic.
Yeah, so cow is grown and there's dirt, and sometimes the dirt, like if you ever pick up a magnet, the magnet picks up dirt. There is metal, like minerals in dirt. And so like it's hard to like filter out some of that, especially in protein powders, especially like chocolate tends to have like more because again, comes from like the chocolate comes from the cow, comes from the earth. Transparent Labs is a pretty good brand and they usually also a lab test, so you can see like where each like your protein powder is ranked in terms of like if it gets like a or B or a C or like don't even consume. So you have to get them third party tested. But yeah, I mean you could get your protein from like natural sources, whether It's plant-based, again, like beans, what is it, garbanzos, what are garbanzos in English, Jen? Chickpeas?
Chickpeas?
Peas? Yeah, chickpeas, lentils, things like that, or whether you're, what is it, eating actual, like, food animal sources, those are high in protein, but, yeah, I mean, as long as you do your research, like, I'm not here to promote any brand, but do your research, but I think protein powder is good for me in my lifestyle. Like it's a good way to get it, use it, take it, make sure I'm getting it in. But also I am doing my research. I'm trying to think what else, Jen. In terms of like lifting and bodybuilding, I mean, one of the things is like your body either like fills up with like fat and it's like, you know, I don't know, I like to think of like a break, like you either like fill up or you tend to like lose muscle and fat and like you wrinkle. And I feel like muscle is just that beautiful organ which just keeps you like lean and tight and like, you can
Yes.
lift things or you can still move. Like I just think muscle is beautiful. It does so many things for your body. Also, like whenever you age or you get sick, like muscle helps you even just regulate your what is it, your metabolism. A lot of
Mhm.
people that are like metabolically unhealthy can get high cholesterol or diabetes or like I think just muscle's amazing. So even just
Yeah.
in the way you age, I think it's in your best interest to age the best that you can. Not
Yeah.
falling, breaking a hip, like those are all things that could happen to us. So I just think muscle's amazing.
Yeah. Well, and they say that muscle is the longevity organ. If you get cancer, it helps you to, what's the word? Not necessarily fight it off, but like it helps you to stay in the game longer, for lack of a better word. Because usually cancer will go after muscle. So if you don't have enough muscle to begin with, your survival rate is going to be a lot more of a short-term survival rate than if you were to have more muscle. So
Mm,
that's going to really help you to kind of fend off any cancers if, knock on wood, we hope everybody is healthy. But that's why we're having this conversation on this podcast, is because we want you guys to live long, healthy, wonderful lives. So,
yeah,
yeah. And then
yeah.
kind of just piggybacking off of the misconceptions in women specifically when it comes to workouts, I do want to remind you guys that you do not have to do these crazy like hit workouts or like boot camp style workouts in order to have an efficient workout. If you like to do that, if you enjoy that because it gives you lots of endorphins, that's wonderful. But I think a lot of people have this misconception that they have to burn the most calories in order to make it an efficient workout. But really, the best thing for you is to try and maintain consistency over time. Move your body in the way that you love and the way that's going to help you to keep moving your body. And
Mm,
start small. Build your way up. Like don't be afraid to like just go for a daily walk. That is way better than whatever your current routine is. If you're extremely sedentary and you just add like 30-minute walks per week, that is great. That's going to help you so much. There are so many benefits to walking. And then as time goes on and you start to get the hang of those 3 per week, you can start to add in a few more, and then maybe you can work your way up to walking every single day. So just figure out what works for you.
mhm.
Any other thoughts before we move on to our last few sections here? We actually have
That's
quite a
okay.
few still. We might have to do 2 parts on this episode, which is the first time that we've done that, but like there's just a lot to be covered here. So, okay, we touched a little bit about this, body image in the Mexican community. Val, kind of mentioned some of Sofia Vergara's comments on like curve your bodies being both praised and criticized, being sexualized early. Sadly, that is something that happened to me. Thick being celebrated until it isn't. The
Mhm,
pressure to stay feminine while also staying small, and comparisons within families. So Val kind of touched on that a little bit, how she felt like she was compared to her cousins. I could relate to that. So I do want to add a little discussion in here. So I'm curious what your thoughts are, Val. Did you ever have a mindset around working out to punish yourself? And I would love
no.
to know what your guys' thoughts are in the comments as well if you've dealt with that.
No, but I also think I needed to learn how to rest. I really felt like the more I trained, the better I was gonna get. Like, I'm gonna put more reps, like, you can't outwork me. Like, I'm gonna run more, I'm gonna train more, I felt like I
Is more
felt like
motivational.
more was more. And sometimes less is more. Sometimes resting is more. Sometimes, like sometimes not getting injured is more. Like I just felt like if I did more, if I worked harder, that was kind of like my mindset. But I also like was training to compete. So like that's kind of like my background. And I was just like, I just gotta do more, I gotta learn more, I gotta put in more reps, I gotta fight more, I gotta get more experience. Like I'm gonna like,
Yeah.
I gotta it's like a reps kinda game, and yeah, like, to some extent, like, yes, more experience is helpful, but also, like, the quality of training, like, nutrition, like, also that's like, nutrition for me was one of my biggest downfall. It's like, yeah, but if you're not fueling your body, you're gonna be tired. If you're not fueling your body, you're gonna break down. If you're not fueling your body,
Mhm.
like, you're it's just yeah, it's just not it, and so I really for me it wasn't like the drive, it was like the nutrition. I just
Yeah.
didn't know. I just didn't know, and that was kind of like my downfall. But now I do know, and now I can coach women and athletes and girls, and also like
Mhm.
yeah, I wish I would have known, but I just didn't have the data. I didn't have the knowledge. I was figuring it out. I didn't have a nutritionist. It was yeah, just do my best.
Yeah. Yeah. No, and honestly, I feel like the good thing about at least the fitness side for you was that you did grow up in sports. Like you did do martial arts or like you were in ROTC. Do you remember that
Hmm.
one time that you invited me to like an ROTC workout?
Yeah.
Oh my God. I think Val was just like excited to share fitness with me. And she was like, yeah, come do this ROTC workout with me. And we did lunges across like the entire parking lot. Luckily, it was the
Yeah.
back parking lot, not the front parking lot.
Yeah.
But like, I remember the next day, I could not sit on the toilet. I was like, oh my God, I'm going to stay here forever. Like, this is it. This is how I go. I never knew I could ever be that sore. There was like muscles in my butt cheeks that I didn't even know existed until then.
Okay.
Oh my
Crazy.
gosh. But yeah, no, I mean, I feel like for me, it was definitely a form of punishment, like at first. I remember when I first got into fitness, I was like trying to get the most calories burned. And I feel like if I ate unhealthy, like I wanted to like punish myself by like going for a run or like doing a bunch of sit-ups or like that kind of a thing when I was in high school. And then I think once I got into college and I had more education about fitness and I was more so doing it to like love myself rather than to hurt myself, that's whenever the script flipped it and I was like, "Oh, like this is clicking. I love this. Like I like want to pursue this and like learn more about it." So, I highly encourage you guys to try and just flip that mindset because you deserve more and you deserve to, love yourself.
Come here.
All right, friends. So, Val and I actually we went off script for a little bit and talked to each other. We're going to edit some stuff out, but we decided we're going to actually end this here for now because this is such a juicy topic and we actually have still a lot to cover. We decided to
Mhm.
just make this a part one and part two situation. So, for this first part, we were able to talk to you guys about the things that have gotten us to this point, some of the experiences that we've had growing up that have led us to our maybe old beliefs about health and fitness and debunking some of those myths. On the next part, we're going to talk to you guys about some tips and tricks on how to get the best bang for your buck with your own health and fitness and some tangible takeaways that you can implement into your health routine, ways that you can do so without breaking the bank, and so on and so forth. So, Val, do you have any thoughts or questions before we end part one?
Uh, No, other than like I'm excited for this first like part one, and then I'm also excited to like show you guys how to live healthy on a budget because I know like the economy is
Yes.
hard, but
Mhm.
I think you owe it to yourself to live and be the healthiest version of yourself. So I'm extremely excited for this.
Yes. Awesome. Well, we will see you guys in the next one. And thank you so much for your patience as we went through this quite long episode and had quite a few technical difficulties. As always, we love you so much, and we will see you in the next one.
We will see you in the next one. Thank you. Bye.
Bye.